So this is the blueprint that I've created for a trigger launched webinar launch for a program. So trigger launch means that you have a program and this is the first time that you have announced it publicly. So this is a trigger launch. But basically there has been some few campaigns beforehand to prototype and pilot the program that you had. So that's a trigger launch, first public launch ever. And for this setup, we've used a couple of email sequences and automation, which I'm going to show you later. And we use Mailchimp for email responders or email automations. So for this setup, we already have a couple of lists that's going on. So you will see that this square here, white squares are actually lists, and purple, if not lists, leads, representing leads. So um, if you have some FB campaign for the webinar, then FB leads would once they click the button that you put in your FB, then they would go to your webinar landing page. And here are a couple of leads that you might have, like if this is your if you first time that you're going to launch your program, this is a new program, then you would want to like survey people. Maybe you already knew someone, you already have a community or a group, so you would want to have a VIP list. Now website lead, if you already have your website and you have some freebies there that you offered, or somebody opted into something that you put there, so you could have a website lead. Subscription are those people who have been with you for your newsletter. And if you have some freebies or free resources pages, then that would be your cheat sheet list. So anyways, these are not requirements, these lists are not requirements, but it's just something that maybe we could segment a list to it, because if it's VIP list, then these are really the people that are, even before you created your program, they are really interested. So you might say that these are the hot prospects. For those who downloaded your cheat sheets or freebies, then they are also interested depending on what freebie you're offering. So by the freebie, you are like, you're very meticulous about what topics or subjects that you have talk about that freebie, then you would know that this certain person is interested in those kind of stuff, and somehow it would really be, um, you could use it for your content in the future. So basically, so these are already campaigns that you have built beforehand before you trigger launched your program. And then along the way, of course, you want to re-engage and invite them to your webinar. So as they are already inside your list, then you will have perhaps a campaign or an automation. So these colored boxes here, rectangles here, are actually processes or automations or email sequences or campaigns that you want to send out for your list. So we have a pre-launched webinar campaign. Like, of course, you want to invite them or re-engage those people who have been in your list for a long time and you have not really poked them for quite a while. So you want to re-engage them and you want to invite them to your webinar, because this is your trigger webinar. So hopefully they would all go to your landing page. And if they opted in, they would go to your webinar opt-in list. So of course they won't you won't take them off this list. In Mailchimp, by the way, all lists are like independent from each other. So this list has really nothing to do with this list and that list, and you can only move them or manually, or if you have automations and you're really good at it, you could really move them through automation. but I'm not going to discuss MailChimp here. I'm going to discuss this blueprint. So, if they opted in, you put them inside your webinar list, and they'll go to your webinar campaign. Now, this here is like if you use automation, you need to have a clear procedure, instruction, or scenario as to how you are going to take them off your list, because you don't want your list who already opted in to still have a pre-launched email coming from you. So you need to think about how you're going to get them off the automation. So this here is something that you should think about if you use automation. But if you just used MailChimp campaigns, then that wouldn't be a problem, because you'll just have to they'll just follow the webinar opt-in list. Okay, and yeah. Next is that after they went into this list, you would want to know if they attended the webinar. Okay, so if they attended the webinar, that the yes is just so far away there. I'll just move it down. Sorry. Okay. If they attended the webinar, you would want to know if they buy. Okay. So if they did not attend the webinar, then you'll just give them the replay because they already opted in. Okay. And for those people who did not opt in at the end of the pre-launch campaign, after the pre-launch campaign, and they did not opt in, then you would want to add them to an unengaged list, so that it's like you would want to know the people who are not uh, responding to your CTAs. So that's what the list is for. And then after that, if they attended and they buy, um, you would want to know if they are VIP or not. Remember the VIP list there? You would want to think that those people who are in your VIP list are really interested in a hot prospect for your program. So you would want to have a different pitch for them as to the standard for all the people who just happen to stumble upon your webinar. Okay. So, by the way, no, not attended replay. You still would uh, want to make them go through a process of the replay campaign, and somehow here you would want to pitch them. So, if you want to reuse your standard pitch, oh, sorry, Control Z. If you want to reuse your standard pitch campaign, you could actually do something like this here, and you would want to somehow uh go here if oh no, sorry. Yeah, you could you could do something like this. Ooh, yeah. Okay, this is. Oh, it's not going straight. I should press shift, not that one. Okay, anyway. So replay. So you could also go make them go here if they did not buy. Oh yeah. It's yeah, they're going to the same path. I'm sorry I did not. So if they went to a replay, did they buy? No. Are they VIP? No, they stand out. Yeah, yeah. They'll be going there still. Um, okay. So attended. So all of your leads would be getting the replay campaign whether they opted in or not, because we still want them to be able to accept pitch or follow up emails until the whole of this campaign period is done, or until your enrollment is done and you want to start your class. So you would want them to still have campaigns. You don't just put your list into a unengaged until your campaign period is over. So that's why everyone, even the unengaged, even those who did not opt in, should have a replay and should be filtered if they buy or not. If not, they go to a follow up, like here, follow up sequence. Okay. Now, if they buy, you get them off the follow up automation. Okay. And then they go to the course bonus sequence. Now, what is this course bonus sequence? Okay, so if we go back here, if they attended and they buy, they would go to a course bonus sequence. So you would want to, like, not really pressure, like motivate, encourage them to buy right now, because it like yeah buy right now and then buy some bonuses from you. So it's like upselling. Now, this is really entirely an option. You might have no, you might not offer this fast track bonuses. So what? But if you do have fast track bonuses, then you would want to offer them. So fast track bonuses, yeah, you offer. Now it's up to you what time, but for here it's 60 minutes from the webinar, 48 hours from the webinar, and 5 days from the webinar. So you'll be able to offer like discounts, perhaps, or some bonus. So these are like the things that you would offer them to encourage them to buy now, like within 5 days period. So uh, you could think about that. So if they attended and they buy right away, you would want them to go to a course bonus. Now, if they now this one goes simultaneously. Okay, so if you give them a pitch, so within 5 days, and then they buy, you would want them to get off the automation and perhaps go to the course bonus sequence. But I just wasn't able to put a like a node here, but somewhere along the way you would want them to not get the course bonus. Of course, this is just for buying. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is just like, if it's within 5 days, there'll be no email. This is a scheduled email sequence, a scheduled email sequence. So if it's beyond 5 days, this is not going to be sent out. So even if we'll go to this campaign, as this is really scheduled, so they'll not be getting emails anymore, even though it seems like everybody would go through here if they buy. But if they buy beyond 5 days, uh, there'll be no emails coming in them. Okay, so that's why there's another way here, which is there'll be no 5 days, no 48 hours, no 60 minutes from the webinar. So they'll go straight to your student list. Now, these are a couple of lists depending on what type of buyers that you have. The F1 or the fast track 1, fast track 2, fast track 3, or bonus 1, bonus 3. It would depend on what you want to name them inside your MailChimp automation. So it's up to you. But basically, they're all fall into your students list. And then once they're students and once the campaign, the pitch campaign is done, like basically this is the cream and crop of your campaign right now, the follow up. So you have like 2 pitches and 6 nudges. So this would depend on how long your registration is, or your enrollment season. So if you're offering like your class starts in November and you started this campaign on September, so you have 2 months worth of follow up. Or maybe you have another webinar coming So you could do that and redo this whole campaign. And this time you will be adding the unengaged list to this list now, and find a way to have another copy that would specifically um, address their unresponsiveness for the first webinar. So yeah, that's why it's really important to really state your list, so that you'll be able to know where they're coming from, how they react or respond to your CTAs, to your campaigns. So that's why we need to move. It's very important to move one list to one contact from list to another and specify them very, very well. And so, after they buy, this is actually the ideal scenario, that once you have all the buyers in, then they'll go into your class modules inside your back end or inside your classroom. And so, if they did not buy after email 6, by the way, the email is just an option how many emails you want to send out. But if you have another webinar, like if you did this on September, and you'll open your class on November. Oh, anyways, this would depend if you have a real great back end where you could have content drips, then it's all right. But if your registration is up until like 2 months, September, October, then maybe you have another webinar, then you could reuse this blueprint and just tweak a little bit to accommodate a new set of lists, which is the unengaged lists. Now, basically, after all the registration is done, you just have to have a long-term campaign, like maybe newsletter, or tell them what's going on with your program. So it would really improve them for the next season. The improve them. I mean, improve your content so that those unengaged will enroll for your next season. So you know now, the email formula that has been used for this campaign are: first, a re-engage email for old lists to poke them and pick their interest with freebies, probably, if you want to. The VIP, if you had a campaign that asked people if they would want to learn what you are teaching. I'll be creating this house to engage your least first subscriber, coming out soon. And then we have a pre-launch, like these are is a campaign that you will do for your already existing list. So webinar email reminders, of course, when they opted in, you would want to remind them. By the way, on the email reminder, it doesn't have to be like 1 hour away, 15 minutes away, 24 hours away. Share something valuable to your list as well, like hey, because you've opted into, especially if you know that they've opted in from your VIP, or maybe they opted in from your FB, and you want to like give them some treats, so you could like really personalize your content. Okay, so and then so you put interesting emails in between from them opting in until your webinar. Now, post webinar email for those who have attended but did not buy, and of course did not attend. And then emails, webinar replay, and then your presentation PDF. So you might want to give your presentation PDF to those who attended but did not buy. And then you might, for those who did not, they could like go to your webinar replay and just watch the webinar again. And then, of course, there's the follow up sequence, 6 nudge or follow up sequence. And then there's your course bonus. Once they buy, you have these course bonuses. It might not be an upsell, by the way. Like, if you want to buy this, it might not be an upsell. It could also be a discount, because you would want to encourage them I mean, you would want to like, because they bought right away, you give them a bonus or a discount. So it's up to you actually. And then of course the tools that I've used for this blueprint is Mailchimp. But for this kind of automations and segmentations, Infusionsoft is still the best to use. But of course, Mailchimp will suffice. There might be a couple of manual adding and manual moving of lists, of one list to another, of one contact from one list to another, and you might need to have us download and import them again and create a couple of merge tags. But yeah, this is doable. And of course, if you're just starting out, it's really important to be involved with your list. So that's it. If you have some questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. If you want something, if you have some idea or some scenario that you want me to create blueprint with, please don't hesitate to comment as well, and to email me on the email below, support@kickstartvirtualassistance.com. I would really gladly create a blueprint for you. So I'll be doing this for up until this campaign is done. So I'll be announcing through the email when I would be accepting scenario, so I could create blueprint, customized blueprint just for you. Now, do tell me what tools you're using. Like, are you using a Weber? What autoresponder you are using, so that you'll be able autoresponders you are using to connect with your list. I would gladly want to hear that. And yeah, uh, please do comment. I would really want to hear from you and learn about your experiences with your list, managing your list with your in your campaigns, in your autoresponders. So until next time, next video would talk about how you're going to get your first subscriber or your first list, or build your first list, this kind of list here below. And I'll be showing you how to set it up and how to get your first subscriber. So until next time, please comment, hit reply, and yeah, email me if you need to, if you have a scenario that you want me to create blueprint with. Ciao.